I'm excited for this matchup. As someone who has 4 of these cards on my desk right now,
They're in my hand because I'm reading them.
currently in Samantha's hand, Eris, Roar of the Storm. Very excited to see how this card plays out. If you aren't aware what this card does, it is 8 and a blue and a red, so 10 CMC. But this spell costs 2 less to cast for each different mana value among instant and sorcery cards in your graveyard. It also has flying and prowess. And the last line of text is when you cast your second spell each turn, create a 4/4 red dragon elemental creature with flying and prowess.
It is, in fact, a commander card.
It is, in fact, a commander card.
This is why it has so much text.
And the list is spicy. Now, let's go look at what kind of version Reanimator that McCaman is on. Pull up the deck lists. And it looks like we are on a
Just a ReScaminator.
Oh, it's ReScaminator. Okay, yeah. We're just full, but also some spicy tech in the form of Harvester of Misery, which is another card I also recently purchased. But ReScaminator versus Eris Beans. Let's see how this goes. I'm very curious.
Yeah. This is an interesting one because we have Bowmaster versus the non-Bowmaster, both blue decks. So I always tend to favor the Bowmaster deck in this case, but
I want to see Eris in action. I want to see this card just take over the game. Obviously, the direct comparisons to it are going to be Monastery Mentor. You're creating tokens with prowess, albeit the flying clause on top of the fact that it's pitchable to blue, pitchable to Force of Will, on top of the fact that it's actually only 2 mana if you have it fully online, and also being a stat line that doesn't die to both. I'll make it very relevant.
we are playing Pyrokinesis in this list.
We are playing,
Yeah.
we are playing 4 main deck Pyrokinesis to fuel the Eris engine. And I actually think that's not a bad deal. Because it also pitches to Pyrokinesis.
Looks like we have some truly proxied cards here on the side of ReScaminator.
Did we proxy basics?
The whole thing's proxy, which is nice because then you know all your deck is the same.
I see. All right, well, I guess Proxy Island. Cycle our Proxy Troll of Khazad-dûm, right? That's what that is?
Yep,
yeah.
and find a swamp.
And find our basic Proxy Swamp. Beautiful. Fetch Scalding Tarn. Take 1. Oh, is that the blue-red Surveillant?
Falls.
Thundering
Yep.
Falls. Beautiful. Surveil 1. Let's see what we're surveilling. If we're surveilling. And we're pitching another Scalding Tarn. Beautiful. All right. Draw for turn. Force of Will in hand. Brainstorm in hand. Another Misty. I did also see a Beans in hand as well, right? So I imagine we're going to see a Beans coming down here in a second.
It's always iffy jamming into open Bowmaster mana, but we have interaction here.
Orcish Bowmasters in response to the... Wait, what do we respond to? The fetch?
To the Leyline, or to the up the beanstalk.
Oh, okay. All right. Makes sense. Orcish Bowmasters is in play.
No, it's only
it's on the stack. Ping you. Sure. Beans resolves, ping you.
I think with Pyrokinesis in your deck, it's a lot less scary to just kind of churn through because you always have a good answer to these Bowmasters, and you can probably outsize a 3 or 4 work token with how this deck is constructed. So it's not so scary, but definitely don't like giving them a free clock here.
I am a big fan of 4 and white border dual lands, though. As someone who uses all 4 and white border.
4 and white border.
I do love 4
dual
and white
lands.
border. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I won't judge too hard, but
I do love the dual land of choice on Carter's side. You know, Carter actually shared a story with me how he got a Underground Sea for $100, and it was because he showed me the back of it after our game. Or no, I don't know if he showed me the back, but he told me that apparently the entire back of the card was ripped off, but he asked to judge if it was sleeve playable, and they said yes. And so that's the craziest, this is the funniest story. All right, come in for 3. Take 3, go to 13.
Ooh.
Grief. Good grief. I don't want to say good grief. I'm saying good boy, and I don't think grief is a good boy.
It's fine. It's a little over saturated. The
Wasteland, Force of Will, Eris, Brainstorm, Force Negation. Read the Eris.
there's
All right, chat. We walked through the Eris. We
uh,
are reading the Eris.
you
I'm very
definitely.
excited to see what this card is able to do.
I bet he's having a moment of, is it good for me to reanimate this?
Take 8, but also now. Oh, it does
Yeah.
have the similar text to Ledger Shredder, and that reanimate would be the second spell, so you wouldn't actually get the first trigger this turn. Although taking 10, I don't know if that's good or not, because I don't know what the clock looks like from Carter's side, if taking 10 actually matters or not, but you would take 10 by reanimating Eris, but Eris could get out of control pretty quickly, I have to imagine.
Yeah, we also have animate dead, so we have
Right.
all life free ways to get it back, but
Right. Although it would be a 3/4.
taking the force of will is a little interesting here. Kinda
Oh, no reanimate. Or there wasn't, and McCaman's not looking to get it forced.
yeah, taking the force of will is interesting because it's always a 2-for-1, but it draws. So it's kind of this, it's probably not necessarily good in this matchup, but when it gets to cycle at the same time, it's so much better. So
Do we have any main deck removal on Carter's side besides the Pyrokinesis? Unauthorized Fire and Ice. And that's it. Fire and Ice, Pyrokinesis. Pyrokinesis is pretty good, though, to be fair.
we have an unauthorized exit, which is pretty good if they
Bounce target
reanimate
creature,
your
surveil
stuff,
one.
or
Oh, it's
just
target 9-lane permanent.
yeah.
It's the newer card. Animate Dead, Force Negation, pitching Eris. Roar of the Storm. Force of Will, pitching Daze. What is this reanimate targeting the grief?
Well, we're animating dead, so animate
Brainstorm
dead's
in
on the
response.
stack, and then we'll target once it enters the battlefield, right? Or does it?
It targets when it enters the battlefield. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Brainstorm in response with the Bowmaster on the stack is pretty brutal. But it looks like there's an unauthorized exit. Oh, we are gonna scoop. Pretty strong start from the UB side. The Bowmaster was pretty brutal, especially with double Brainstorm in hand. Let's see what we're getting here. We're boarding in that looks like unlicensed hearse. Blue Ellie Blast probably not needed in this
Is that
matchup. On Life from the Loam, Narset, Pyroblast, Submerge.
animate dead does target? That makes sense because surgical it gets caught by surgical pretty hard. Um, I think it's just how it's worded. Enchant creature card in a graveyard. Yeah, you have to target.
Yeah, because this is yeah, that's right. You do. I remember. Yeah, that makes sense. But it's also important that there is that second trigger because you can stifle it.
Yeah, I assume we can just start the grief for a troll and just run away with the game. We got a big bowmaster. Pretty much over from there. Yeah. Enchant creature card in a graveyard does not feel like a line of text that should work in the rules, but what do I know?
What do I know? The It's also funny because I was once playing Stifle Not into this list, and I had 2 Strict Proctors, 2 Doorkeeper Thrall, specifically because I knew of like the Reanimator, like Animate Dead, and also Beanstalk. My opponent did not realize that Animate Dead could not go through a Strict Proctor, and I was very happy with that interaction personally. um,
Yeah, so this is a full proxy tournament. You don't have to do with proxies, obviously, but you can, as RG has already showed us, you can proxy your basics if you want to.
Yeah. I was actually thinking about this, like the advent of proxies. I do think personally, and don't crucify me, that I think Eternal Weekend being proxyless is cool, is even for vintage. But I think non like comp REL should all be proxy friendly.
Yeah.
I do think like Eternal Weekend being the one time a year where people have to play with real cards, I think is a cool factor of Eternal Weekend. It adds like a kind of a like almost like a pizzazz to it. But I do think pretty much every other event should be proxy friendly. Like I personally, I think like here in the Midwest we have energies, and I think energies should be proxy friendly, or at least like proxy friendly for reserve list cards is I think the
Yeah.
ruling. Like if you want to at least have people have the card, so it's not like so just to keep the Wizards corporate team happy. But I do think like for things like the energy and things like that it could be. But I do like that Eternal Weekend specifically. I don't even have vintage cards, but I kind of
Yeah.
like that it gives me a reason to look for vintage cards as Eternal Weekend.
Yeah. Selfishly, I kind of wish we weren't proxy vintage because it's feels impossible to find vintage cards, but and I would like to play more paper vintage, and it's
I
basically the
agree.
only paper vintage event. There's a
Yeah.
few other ones now, but
They're in Europe though, mostly, right? The big vintage non-proxy events, like the really big ones, like Bazaar of Moxon in Paris, right?
yeah, there's an event coming up, the NYSE event.
Are you going to that?
I am not.
I'm thinking about going.
I think I will be out of town, sadly.
The only problem is it's in like the middle of nowhere, Long Island. Because when I was like looking, like, yeah, I'll stay in Manhattan or something, I looked and it was like, oh, it's actually not anywhere close to Manhattan. So how am I going to do this trip? Like Uber out there on a Saturday, like Uber out there on a Saturday, staying in Manhattan for the week or something. But I don't know. We'll see. I kind of wish it was closer to the city. Anyway, we're drawing our hands. We're seeing a surgical extraction. We're seeing, I don't know what that white border card is. We see an Eris. We see a
Oh,
Misty. We see a Brainstorm.
let's see. Fire Ice. Looks like
Long Island Railroad is cheap and easy. Is it really? Maybe I will take the train up there then. Because it would just be a daily thing, right? The Nizi's only one day, right?
I think so. I'm not entirely sure. But I think that's 15 card proxy, right?
Yeah. Which honestly, like if you have the dual lands already, then it's just the power you need a proxy, and then
Yeah.
maybe like a few like an intuition or something.
Yeah. I feel like 15 card proxy is kind of a sweet spot. I wish that was better.
Yeah. I don't know. But I will take a look at the Long Island Railroad, by the way. That actually sounds really, really easy. Is that Roland? That is Roland, I believe.
Staring at the back of Roland's
Yeah, we're
head.
staying in the back of Roland's head.
We'd rather be staring at Roland's cards, but
We had lunch the day after MagicCon. We were just kind of hanging out. He came to my office and we had lunch that day and he showed me his big stack of cards. And in this stack of cards, he had like original foil like Goblin Welders just sitting there. And I'm like, what? Like and that was like the middle of the value of that stack of cards. It was a wild thing to look at.
yeah, if I could pick who we could put on feature, I would definitely be picking Roland. I think he's 2-0 right now too.
We're gonna be discussing more about his choice of art than anything else.
Well, and Death and Taxes usually have good games. As
That's
long as
true.
they're not getting run over. I feel like there's a lot of choices. It's very to the board, kind of great coverage.
Yeah, it is actually good to cover. It's also like a very easy deck to understand what's happening. Just because like for instance, I remember I was showing a friend Magic and someone resolved the Doomsday. My buddy goes, "What the hell is going on?" And I said, "It's really hard for me to explain what's going on, except for we pick 5 cards and that's our deck." And they go, "Why is that good?" And it's like, here's Thassa's Oracle. Now you understand.
Yeah, I'm a D&T ally, I would say, Sahar.
As
But you
someone who has 4 Doorkeeper Thralls main deck, please bring your D&T decks.
you know I'm a fan or an ally based on how much I make fun of it. If I make fun of something a lot, it means I like it. I just won't admit it. If I make fun of you a lot, it's a good sign.
Wow, you don't make fun of Stifle? You just said it's
It's
toxic.
just a deck. I'm
Wow.
sorry. I don't even think about it.
Wow.
Actually, I do because I play Doomsday, but
I think about Stifle every day. I think about Stifle like I think about the Roman Empire. All right. What do we think about this choice of island? I don't think I've ever seen this one before. Actually.
like
This
a Mirage
is that
potentially.
that's hot. That's super hot. Beautiful 4 and white border trop.
Yeah, I've been considering for a long time to make my white border underground seas, black borders, but
You mean like Sharpie them?
no, no, no. Like
I was gonna be like, oh, that's definitely up the beanstalk, brainstorm in response.
looking for a daze here, I think.
Yeah.
Was it he white bordered those up the beanstalks? Question mark?
I do remember he was a whiteboarder enthusiast. We don't talk
What?
about that. We just talk about how he played Stifle Knot.
This beanstalk is a really good differentiator here, but it can be a liability into the face of bowmasters. So hope we found the days.
We found the days. Are we running days back? We do have days back. Days
Yeah.
back.
Dazing on the draw is such a bad feeling.
Oh yeah. Force of will. Pitching force of will. I have to imagine you're fine with this interaction.
Yeah. I mean, this matchup is typically a little 1-for-1. You want to come out of exchanges, and up the beanstalk will forever be a bad exchange.
The Scalding Tarn.
All I know is in the beans matchup, the mirror, it is all about the beans, and you fight so hard.
Did you ever play Domain in Standard?
I have played a lot of Domain Standard.
My favorite thing about that matchup is it always goes to like decking game one. And it's a
Yeah.
matter of I need to play enough beans that I can keep up and not die. It's like a big like board of 3/3s, but I also can't play too many beans and deck myself first.
Oh, yeah.
Onslaught Island 335 indeed, Tony's, because that is crazy impressive that you guys are able to figure that out.
This is my biggest complaint about Magic design is actually snow covered basics.
Whoa. Whoa.
I hate snow covered. I want people to pick the basic lands that they want to run. If you want to run your dumb proxy island, I'm
It's
happy.
so funny though. The proxy island is so funny. I had a friend of mine here. She proxied a legacy deck and under it was a pauper deck. And I asked her which was more valuable, and I think the answer is I think the printer paper was more than the pauper deck.
Hmm.
All right, we have a Murktide in hand, and we have 4 spells.
It's a summer trop. Sorry, I'm
That's
distracted.
a summer trop? Oh my god, it is. No, it can't be, right? Summer wasn't in non-English.
I have no idea. I'm not up to date on that.
I can't tell. The text looks too short to be tropical islands. I think it's just 4 and white border. But it can't say tropical island, right? The text for tropical island goes way past the middle point of the card. And I don't think they did summer in non-English.
It could just be a proxy. This is the problem with proxy events. You can't tell if you need to give props to the players for their beautiful choices or if they just
Murktide Regent with I believe 4 counters.
3 counters.
3 counters.
It's pretty good here.
Murktide Regent with 5
Ooh.
counters. Actually, no, it's 4 counters. It's Fire and Ice Brainstorm Days, so 4 counters. You know what's bigger than a 6/6? Wait, 3 counters? I thought it was 4 counters.
I think it was Brainstorm
Days, Fire and Ice.
Fire Ice.
Oh, okay. I thought there was 4 in there.
Yeah. I'm not sure that RG has a lot of good removal for this Murktide.
I believe these lists tend to run a Brazen Borrower, and that is generally it. Yeah, there's 2 Brazen Borrowers. Oh, we are on a white splash on the RG side, and as a result, we also have 2 more Brazen Borrowers in the board, as well as 2 Swords to Plowshares in the board.
We don't have any white here.
We have a Scrubland as the single white source.
We're pondering. I love the attack.
Actually, this is kind of smart if Carter thinks RG is on Harvester, because you can Harvester the Murktide and then actually have a favorable trade here.
Or refetching reanimate. Just trying to find. I assume there's some pyroblast effects. If we can answer. Ooh, this surgical is. Uh,
We're not delirious for the DRC, nor do we have a red
right,
source.
yeah. Assume we're gonna take the Murktide here.
I assume, yeah, I imagine we'll take Murktide.
It really is a flavor fail that he's playing Esper.
With name RG. Go to our draw. We really need a red source. What did we get? Do we have Taiga on Carter's side? We're not winning the race. Come in for 9, go to 4. We don't have Lightning Bolt, do we?
Oh.
And the handshake. Drew Force of Will.